Welcome. This podcast is a series of candid conversations exploring the human experience from a completely new perspective. In it, we will be diving deeply into the meaning of commonly used words and pointing you away from that old stressful way of looking at life and towards a new paradigm. This will help you find a sense of calm, cultivate meaningful relationships, and create harmony in every aspect of your life. Here is Navigating Life with Ease with Michaela, Ellis and Clare, Downham.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. Claire, how are you?
Yeah, very good. Very good. We have summer now, so that always makes things better.
Yes, good. I hope you don't hear my fan. I can feel it. I have it blowing on me just for a little bit of air circulation. Because we too, summer, yeah. Although when this comes out, it's going to be fall, FYI. Yeah.
Yeah. So forget about that whole time slip. We're making a podcast. Maybe you have a word for me.
Yes, I do. Healing.
Ooh, yes. Lovely. It's not a word I think about so much anymore. But I think when I do think about it, I have a very different perspective on what I thought, what it meant before. So I think probably in our conversation, I'm probably going to focus on the psychological side of healing, although obviously can't separate that from the body. But I think I used to think that I had to do a lot of things to heal myself, and especially thought I had to go into the past to try and find the answers to heal that without dealing with, in inverted commas, the past, I couldn't possibly move on or have a better experience of life, really, without doing that. The revisiting was a part of that. I did a lot of inner child work and a lot of counselling and things like that. Most of that was focused on the past. And I guess now I think the space for healing is a different, completely different thing for me. I see that it's happening all day, every day, especially the more I look towards the sort of inside out understanding and the non-duality and stuff that we talk about. And really the big difference is that I see now that there was nothing ever to heal, really. That there's no damage inside of me. I'm not broken. There's nothing wrong with me. But I've learned some really unhelpful things as I've gone through life, and it's really that as those fall away, that the healing is sort of happening really without me needing to do much about it. And I just notice changes in behavior happening. And one of the things I think that where I see healing really happening is when I go and do things, or I do things in my business or in my life that feel uncomfortable. I used to think, well, don't do the uncomfortable things because that's the discomfort is letting you know the thing is not right. Now I really know that the discomfort is only ever telling me that I've got a whole heap of thinking about things. So an example of this is that I don't know if you know Georgia Bazin, you might know her through this community, but I'm meeting her tomorrow because I happen to be near her where I am, southwest of London at the moment. She's only a few minutes away. And I'm going to do some wild swimming, which I have never done before. And I definitely know that I have some thinking about open water and the sense of there being quite a lot of water below me. I don't know what it is, creatures down there or something. I don't know really, but there's definitely some thinking about it. And I've been noticing as we're getting closer to it, it's early tomorrow morning we're going, I'm noticing that there's a little bit of, Are you going to be okay? Will you be able to stand the cold? Will you be able to, it shouldn't be too cold because it's a lot warmer here now. But yeah, lots of thinking going on. But I do know that every time I do something like that is outside my apparent comfort zone, healing happens. It's almost like the system is safe to let go of something. Like almost like you imagine you gave the ego a little personality and it's there trying to keep us safe. And then the feelings come up when you think about doing the thing. And then if you do the thing, the ego kind of goes, oh, you didn't die then. It's okay that you did that thing that I thought was going to be like, whoa, it's going to kill you. And you didn't die. So it must be okay. And it's almost like there's a bit of something that falls away because of that. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe next time we meet, I'll be talking about the panic attack I had. That'd be a fun conversation. Yeah, my word for next time could be panic attack. So get yourself that, Michaela. So yeah, who knows what will happen. Yeah, so we'll see. Because I'm not afraid of a bit of anxiety. I have experienced it quite a bit recently. Well, not quite a bit. I had a big. I don't know if I told the listeners and you about the stepping stone incident where I went to cross this bit of water at a stately home, and there were these stepping stones, but they weren't on the water. They were like big blocks of Yorkshire stone, and the top of them was really only sort of the size of a pair of feet. So you had to kind of step, and they were quite big. The strides probably weren't that big. Probably if I went and looked at it now, I'd go, really, they're not that big, Claire, but they felt big to me. And I got to the middle and I was like actually shaking from head to foot. Really, really, really terrified, basically. My whole body was responding to it. And there was nothing happening other than I had to take the next step. And I thought, I'm going to turn around here. And of course, I couldn't turn around because I couldn't turn around on this tiny block of stone. There's no way I was doing. So I managed to make it across, and I just had to just be with the feeling. Like, I think that's part of the healing process. Bruce came across after me and my legs were like jelly by this point. I could hardly stand. My legs were so wobbly and I was really shaken. He said, what's the matter? And I said, just stand there and just let me hold on to you while I just feel this feeling that's in my body that's really intense. And that's all I did. And then within a minute or two, it had passed. And it was fine. And I think that's part of that healing process, being able to just be with a feeling and not being afraid of those feelings. And, one of my favourite Sydney Banks quotes is that one about if the only thing that people learned was not to be afraid of their experience, that alone would change the world. And I think healing is happening every time some fear of an experience falls away as well, So that's my little starter for 10. Thoughts?
I could just say ditto. We could leave it all right there.
Yeah.
Really. Because this idea that we're healing something, it's like, what are we really healing? And what is healing? And I do energy work, energy healing, if you will. I actually don't like that word. Sometimes I use it just because people get it. If they're in the energy world, they get what you're talking about. But it's like, what are you really healing? When you are who you really are is already whole. And if you want to use the word heal, but what even, so I wasn't going to, this has just come up in the moment. What is it to be healed from something? And really it sounds, what's coming to mind right now is like, there's nothing there. It's just moving on. It's like, it's really just a peaceful, calm, sort of benign, content, almost vanilla state. You know, it's who we really are. I love your example about going over those steps and what you did on the other side of it. And, you know, yes, you were holding on to another physical human being, but I'm just guessing here. I'm just imagining here. Like, what happens? It's like, you were grounding into yourself. Your thinking was settling, calming, you know, that is healing. Settling back into you, the feeling of you that we all know, but sometimes maybe if we don't allow ourselves to be quiet and calm, we've forgotten what it actually feels like, or we don't recognize it because it's happening throughout your day. No human being is ever in a state 24/7 of, you know, dis-ease. There's always moments where there's that healing or wholeness, whatever you might call that. Even for someone whose body has a dis-ease or an illness, even with that, there is an experience that happens, but we miss those. We miss those often. I think that would actually be really, the word empowering comes up, but really helpful to notice the moments of the day when we are feeling content and where things are just going easy. I think we'd start to see that, oh wow, things are okay. Things are okay. And then noticing when they're not, what's going on.
That's really interesting because when I did the stepping stone thing, it felt utterly empowering to be able to be with that anxious feeling, to have no desire to get rid of it, to just feel all the, you know, I often say emotions, energy in motion. That's what it is. It is just energy, and just to literally watch it moving around my body, notice my hands were shaking, notice my knees felt like jelly, just noticing all that and kind of knowing that that's okay. It's not dangerous. It can't do anything to me. It is just my system responding to me having a lot of thinking about stepping stones and falling probably. I don't really like open staircases or anything like that. I'm a bit like funny about stuff like that. So I actually, when I spoke about it on Insight Time, and I said there, it felt so empowering. I felt empowered to be able to just stand. And the only reason I held on to Bruce was just because I felt so weak. I felt wobbly in my legs. So I held him. He was just like a post. He could have been a post. Bless him. He's nicer than a post. He could have been a post. And it just was just literally feeling it going through my body. Just felt like, oh my God, I'm not that. I think that's what came there. Oh look, I can't be that because I'm able to watch that. So I can't be an anxious feeling. So I couldn't be anxious or have anxiety because I'm not that. I'm able to be the consciousness of that. And that was just so like, oh my God, really saw who I really was in that moment and felt so empowered to be able to just stand and feel what was happening in that moment. No need to escape. No, because before I would have like carried on walking and distracted myself by looking around or doing something to just get myself over it. And I didn't. I just stood and felt it. And it felt like a connection to resilience almost. like seeing my whole system recovering from that all on its own without me needing to do a jot. I didn't have to do anything. Like seeing the truth of our innate well-being and how it just sort things out when we don't interfere, which we have a habit of doing.
Yeah. Beautifully put. I could say more, but this really feels like a lovely place because I think this is actually a subject that we can speak to again. You know, even from the physical, from this idea of when you are, you know, you do have something going on in your body, your physical body.
Healing part 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can slot that in anytime, can't you? I'll leave that word with you, and then just at some point we want to talk about, and we go for it from a more body kind of way. So. What do we want to leave the listeners with? Like, what do you feel like?
Yeah, I think it's
out into life and experiment with.
Yeah. Well, when we like looking to healing, I think it's really helpful to see that healing is something we tend to, like, we go to someone for. People come to, you know, will come to me for healing on certain things. But what's actually happening is they're doing their own healing, right? So you don't need to go to someone. There's so much healing that can happen when you just allow yourself to get curious, to be present as you were in that moment of anxiety, to get present to your actual experience, to get present to and just observe it and watch it. Notice where it is happening, where it's being experienced in the body, giving something to it, whether it's a color or a texture or whatever, and just noticing what happens when you're just present to that. Because you can only think one thought at a time. So as soon as your attention goes away from what was giving you the anxiety or the pronounced, symptoms, and you just look to where it's happening, there's a lot of healing that happens right there on its own. And you're not even really doing anything. It's just being present to the energetic, magical, intelligent being that you are.
Yeah, I think ironically, it's the less you do, the better.
Yeah.
Right. How easy, I mean, how many different tools and techniques could you be presented with when you're coming across the stepping stones and you're feeling anxious? I'm sure at some point I would have had a rucksack full of them that I could have tapped or done something about it. And my latest course that I've just put onto Insight Time, that comes out on Saturday, is called Transformational Mindfulness. The power, something about the empowering, something about being with yourself. Then the whole course is about being with your emotions, being with your thoughts, being with your own body, like being in your own body with yourself, as opposed to trying to get away from yourself, which is an exhausting and ironic thing to do, because you can't actually get away from yourself, folks. You have to kind of, you're going to be with yourself. You're always going to take yourself with you wherever you go. And yet we've so many things, from social media to Netflix to smoking, drinking, food, whatever. We've got so many ways to not be with ourselves. And, the more we can be with ourselves as exactly as we are now, the more I think we enter that transformational healing space. To be with us as we are right now.
Yeah. Nice.
Thank you. That was a lovely word. Lovely word.
Thank you, Claire. Appreciate what came out about that.
And thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah.
Next time. Thanks, Michaela. Lots of love.
Ciao, lady. Bye. Hey, thank you for being a part of Navigating Life with Ease. We'd love to hear your feedback and receive a review on your favorite podcast platform. This will help others who'd also like more ease in their life to find us. We're here to support you, so if you've any words you'd like us to explore or you've a question, please reach out to us at navigatinglifewithease@gmail.com. Again, thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more episodes of Navigating Life with Ease.